Hi, everybody. It's 8:00 here in Washington, D.C., so we should start our webinar. My name is Renata, and I'm going to present Beyond Smart Buildings. I hope you can hear me well. In case you have questions, please post them on Q&A. I will answer them after 20 minutes of presentation. What I want to share with you today is general Beyond Smart Building concept. Where does it come from and how I perceive it, how we do it in Skanska, and how the case study of Spark worked out with this concept. I work with PropTech around 3-4 years now, and I'm in real estate around 8 years. Wherever I go, I hear everybody in real estate asking, WTF, what is the future? Everybody's wondering where the world will go, how technologies will influence our life, how we will work, how we will live. And I kind of feel that when Bill Gates said that we overestimate the change that will occur in the next 2 years and underestimate the change that will occur in the next 10, he was really right. When you will look back 2 years, your life probably didn't change much. But 10 years, so many things got changed, eliminated because of new technologies and new expectations of new generations. We don't use calculators anymore, so we don't use digital cameras. In next 10 years, maybe we won't stop using keys, maybe we will stop using money, and this change will go big. This happens because when we look at the future, we have two perspectives. We have close future that is being developed through trends and mechanisms that we can already see today, but also we have far future that is happening without us being really in charge. There are some change factors that influence the long-term perspective that we can see, and we can try to predict those scenarios, but we need to be open and look at combination of different trends and new expectations to really adapt to the far future concept. And for real estate right now, we can observe 6 trends that are really changing and influencing us. And we can see different developers, different companies, startups working with those trends and really implementing cool solutions. So those 6 trends are smart buildings, Internet of Things, big data, virtual reality, crowdfunding, and shared spaces. We can see in the 6 that they are influenced mostly by technology, but they are also really highly influenced by new generations, new expectations, and new styles. For smart buildings, actually, there is no very clear definition of what smart building is, but usually it connects with automation of the building and interaction. So mobile applications and solutions that give users possibility to interact with the building. I feel like smart buildings are really growing right now. We can see more and more, and that makes me super happy. But at the same time, they are not really intelligent or really well integrated. The far future, the next step is to be beyond smart, is to bring new perspective to the building. And what I mean beyond smart, the building that is beyond smart for me is the building that can provide fully integrated user interface, gives one platform for its users to connect with all the solutions. So we don't have separate app to verify parking spaces. We do not have separate app to verify connections for transportation. We do not have separate app to book a room or a conference place in the space. Beyond Smart Building is also prepared to connect to smart city infrastructure. It doesn't stand alone. There are plenty of smart solutions. For example, I love my AirPods, but I can connect them to my laptop. I cannot work with them on Android. And that's closed infrastructures will stop making sense in the future. I hope that within next years, my Google Home will talk with your Alexa and will book us an appointment. They will be co-integrated. Beyond smart buildings also can interpret on data. They gather data, they can analyze them, and they can interpret them to change their algorithms without human interactions. They're also gonna serve communities. We cannot forget the main objective of smart technologies. It's for people, and people need to use it in the way that they feel their life is more simple, but also that they can connect with others. We feel as humans strong need to really be a part of society, and this must be a part of our smart systems. Last but not least, beyond smart buildings will be sustainable. Over last years, real estate talked about sustainability a lot. We had lots of new certifications for buildings and a lot of great solutions, and this won't stop. This will take really strong impact on real estate further on. What I want to talk about is a case study of what I was working with for last couple of years. It's a system called Connected by Skanska that we have implemented for the first time in the full scope on a Spark building. Spark is an office complex located in Warsaw. It's around 72,000 square meters, built in 3 phases. It's developed and built by Skanska and was designed by Kurylowicz and Associate Architects. This building was designed with a full view on sustainability and inclusion. It's one of the first office buildings that acquired no barrier certificate that can help and be used by people with disabilities and different type of users. We looked at people from new generations that want to be super integrated, but also people that do not want to be followed or have any problems with privacy issues. So we had a lot of digital design and new standards like GDPR in Europe, issues that we had to deal with, and it really paid off. This building is equipped with all-in-one operating system that can be operated from mobile phone and from web platform. Web platform mostly is designed for office administrators who can manage all the settings of the office, of the building, of its users. And mobile application is designed for everyday users who interact with the building. The main idea behind is, as I said, being ready to connect with different things and bring all the things together. This system does not cut off our BMS, but it integrates with BMS and with other systems in the buildings. Mainbrain is a web platform for office administrators where they can set all the things they want, and it immediately gives data to BMS or other systems to change the settings of the building. This is a screenshot of my profile where we can set all the contacts, where I'm placed, in which building, in which floor, what's my employee ID. And due to GDPR, for example, property manager of this real estate cannot see my name or surname, but only my employee ID. We can manage access through this. So if I have virtual card in my mobile phone or I use a plastic card with RFID, the change of standard SPP employee to, for example, master profile will give me a different level of access to the building. We can assign elevator, floor for elevator. So when I walk into the building, the elevator to 5th floor will be ordered automatically for me. Of course, with my access profile, I can choose to go to other floor, but then I simply need to tap my phone to the lift control panel. We can decide if I should enter parking or I should not be allowed. And we can put my license plate number here. I can do it also in my app if I'm allowed. We can decide which user can invite guests to the building and if can let those guests book parking space. We can see also when the user was logged in last time to the application and what device do they use. From perspective of functionalities, we have three levels or three integrated parts in the system. One, it's a building that influences all building infrastructure, and it's available for all tenants, all users of the building that are allowed to log into the system. In this, we include all social connections, so soft part of the system that we can see in different social tenant engagement apps like social wall, events, amenities around the building, information about the building, public transportation. We can see what weather it is, how air quality is around the location, what's the lunch menu in our local canteen or restaurant, and so on. Then we have activity-based parking that basically automated assigns spots to users when they arrive to the building. It shows occupancy and prediction of how parking spots will be busy. We have mobile access, so I can have my profile connected to my mobile device and I can enter any space in the building using my device. And virtual reception, which allows to invite guests to send them QR code to enter the building, just like they would be boarding the plane. The next level is fit out. Fit out includes workspace of the tenant. So it's only visible by the company that's assigned to this space. So if we work in the same building complex, you may not be able to see the same functionality as I will see because I'm assigned to Skanska and you, for example, have different conference rooms in your company. So in this part, we have few functionalities that are based on indoor positioning. First, thanks to beacon locations, we can verify your location or your phone can understand its location. And to that, you can connect to light management, temperature management, and room booking and colleagues finder. In this way, you cannot switch off somebody's light when you're not in the office or you're not in this conference room. So you cannot make jokes and turn off somebody's air conditioning in different floor. We worked really highly with privacy, as I said at the beginning, so every user can decide if they want to be visible, if they want to be in the ghost mode, so still connected to the building, but not showing their location to other users, or if they fully want to disconnect from this particular feature. We do not use GPS, everything is based on Bluetooth for this part, but when we were designing it, we really highly focused on user interface and the needs of the user in the space instead of technology, because we believe in the future we may not use Bluetooth, we may use Wi-Fi or other technologies that are upcoming. The last part is green. So it's all the sustainability that I've mentioned. We believe it's really strong and will be really strong in real estate in the future. So in our system, you can learn how to be more sustainable. You can understand what certification is. You have those information as a user in your application, but also we're working on gathering data and understanding how the building is really performing and how the building can work better to save more energy and water. Those are a few screenshots of mobile application, which is also designed in the way that on the top we will see most important features during the day. So when we wake up in the morning, if we are allowed to use parking, we will see prediction of current occupancy, but also prediction of how many parking spots are available. In the lunchtime, we will see today's menu, But for example, when I was recording, making screenshots yesterday, in the afternoon, it was next connections will be first in the top, showing when I'm about to leave the building, which bus, which tram, which metro is soon to leave. I can always click see more and set my preferences. For example, I do not use tram number 20, so I will see only those that are that I'm interested in. Also, for example, parking in the afternoon will be visible below. And here it's a screenshot of predictions. When we were doing this, we were like thinking what should really talk with what. And we try to integrate as much as possible. So we wanted the different functionalities to work with different functionalities, to talk with each other. And this is one of the examples. When you book meeting room, first of all, you use location services. So you will get suggestions of the meeting rooms that are closest to you. And then when you choose to book it, you can also choose to create virtual reception invitation for somebody. You need to type their names and their email. And you can also allow them to book parking spot. So in this one screenshot, we see actually 4 functionalities together in one use case. And that's one of the things that I think will be driving beyond smart buildings for the future. Everything should talk with everything. It doesn't matter which producer, which company that is. When we look at Spark building and all the solutions we implemented, we have one thing: we are ready. We didn't do everything. It's just impossible. This is a journey. This is something that needs to go together with other trends, with other technologies, other infrastructure. But I may say we are ready because the system is open. We are creating API to connect with other systems. So if there is smart infrastructure in city of Warsaw, we are ready. We will be ready to connect with it, with smart licensing system of the city, with other smart parkings. Just looking at the parking solution, because I don't have time to show you or explain every single feature that we've implemented. Just looking at the parking, there is this way that you're allowed to use the parking. When you're allowed, you can put your license plate number in the application. This could connect to other city applications that actually charge you for using parking. So you could use Spark parking, but you could use other city parking. Those informations can be exchanged. When you arrive the building will recognize your license plate. It will show you on the big screen how many spots are available right now. And next screen will show you which spot you should be using today. So the building will assign you to the first available spot. There will be a light blinking showing you this is your spot in case you didn't look well at the number or you were confused, you're a guest, you're using the parking first time. You will also get a notification on your application so you can remember where did you park when you're leaving the building after a few hours. If the building doesn't have available spots, for the future can connect with other smart buildings, with other parkings in the city, so you could be redirected to different space. This way of thinking also connects us to being ready for autonomous vehicles, because those vehicles will have to charge somewhere. Smart building is ready for that. We have a charging plug for every single spot. And through API, autonomous vehicle could contact smart parking in Spark and get information about available spots and just come there, be charged, and no human interaction would be needed. Due to interlocation and all the technology we have in the building, we're also ready for service robots. We can integrate layouts of space plans and show where is which conference room so a robot could deliver needed goods. And one of the things with all this openness, we're ready for data exchange. So if we have other companies that are better in analyzing data, in really getting information and helping us develop something or learn about the infrastructure, how to save better energy, we're open for that. Just for the end, while working on that, we were also studying for future scenarios and what can really happen. And through envisioning process with in Future Institute in Poland, we have identified 5 future scenarios that may happen to real estate. First, it's for people and by people. It's all about the inclusion and how we think about what user needs. It's about human-centered design and really thinking of making our lives better. Second, it's in symbiosis with nature. It's about biodiversity, feeling the nature in cities. Then we have independent and self-sufficient. It's about technologies and new ways of thinking about sustainability, of how buildings can gather energy, can filter on water, and cannot give any impact to environment. Then we have adaptability and flexibility. It's both about design, but also about the technology, data, and how people will work in the future. And the last is invisible architecture, which shows of how we're tired of urban mess, of very heavy architecture, but also how technologies such virtual reality and working remotely can help us in reducing real estate space. We have worked with some architects to design those future buildings. And here, for example, is invisible building that shows a base that can gather people, but also virtual connections to the buildings, who's working actually right now. Here we have adaptable building that can change its positions through modifications done by drones. So different modules can be in different configurations, or they can even travel around the world. And the last, just an inspiration of how independent building simply connected to ground energy that can protect us from all the bad things that can happen around us. You can check more about the report of Buildings of the Future on my LinkedIn profile, and you can also contact me in case for the last minutes I'm not able to answer all your questions. I will check Q&A session right now and your questions. You can also turn on your microphone and ask the question or comment or give your feelings or other examples of buildings that can be beyond smart. Okay, we have a question about how many % of users are using the smart tech services. And a comment that I know sometimes smart offices usage goes down because users are not bothered to use it. So we had very fast reaction on sending information to employees about the system. They have downloaded it immediately on the first day. It was around 70% of users who moved into the building has downloaded the software. We have users that are allowed to use some more features. Some are not allowed to use everything due to company policies of who can, for example, invite guests that every tenant can manage itself. Now we have over 88% of people who actually logged in and used. And we say that active usage, so how many people will use the software 3 times a week, is around 50%. And there is a curve that shows how innovation spread. And we have innovators, early adopters, majority, and laggers. And we think that this is very good result because we are over majority. We have implemented different tenant engagement apps in the past. And what we see made a difference here in Spark is that actually it's not just another software that you can post something and it's supposed to create community because people use Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and many others, but they have everything together. So they have their community, but they also have their mobile card. So they don't need to use the plastic thing anymore. What technology do you use for indoor location? We use beacons, so Bluetooth Low Energy. We cooperated with a company called Estimate. They're from Krakow, Poland. And those are battery-powered devices that send Bluetooth signal to the mobile phone. How do you work with other partners out of the office, for example, restaurant, gym? Maybe they don't have the same access to technology. Do you help them? We work with a lot of different partners, small and big. We work with some startups, as I mentioned, Estimate, but we also work with big corporations like HID for access control. And for little partners like restaurants, gyms, we give them access to our system. So we will create their profile so they can post, they can share information to the community, they can share their menu. But if they move to our building, we will help them and set the same access control system and so on. So they don't need to provide something else. It's like giving an employee 5 different key cards. So we want to have it all and simplify it. Okay. Do you have data generated by third-party supplier products integrated in the system? How easy it is to integrate data from new products into the system? It depends. Sometimes it's super easy because some of the providers and companies are really prepared and have similar mindset as we do. So they want to be open, they have ready API, they have done some integrations. So it's great. Sometimes it's super difficult because they have totally different mindset. They want to keep their own data for them. They don't want to give it away. So we have worked through this proof of concept in Spark, and we have established technical rules. So now when we are choosing a supplier that works with Skanska and wants to sell something to our building, the number one requirement is for them to have an API and to be open for integration. If they don't have an API, we can work it out with them, but they need to be open and invest their time into the integration. We have data from BMS, so about the energy, water, and so on. We have data from access system. We have data from parking, so our system understands which spot is occupied. You can pull the analytics in our system to verify what's efficiency of your parking. The system will also give you some type of tips of what you can do better to increase the efficiency based on the data. Interested to know if you set out to create this for yourself or as a sub-business where you're not able to find something off the shelf. We were not able to find anything out of the shelf, and we wanted to build something that will give us competitive advantage. So for the beginning, since we're developing around 20 buildings right now, we're focusing on implementing it in Skanska all around Central Europe, but it may grow as sub-business in the future. We're just open and we will see how does it go. How does the ROI looks like in terms of the app cost? So I cannot really disclose the full financial part, but when we were developing the software, we knew we want to use it in many different real estates. So we look at the ROI on wider geographical perspective, not only on this building. In this building, we have focused on learning, and we are also a tenant in Spark, so we're kind of testing on ourselves, we're improving. As I said, sometimes integration with other providers is not that easy, so some things fail, we need to repair them, we need to look on how to reprogram some things based on the user experience and tests in the real field. So we invested more money, but basically what we talk with tenants right now, they are willing to pay for additional features like that. So you can count on a good ROI. Also, how do you think the smart technology in current smart buildings will be in 5 to 10 years? Will the tech not be outdated compared to the new developments in the future? I believe in 5 to 10 years, smart devices will take a next step to being smaller and being closer to us. So we will use more and more wearables. We are developing now an application for smartwatch. We already have an access both for guests and for employees on a smart watch, but we want to put more functionalities there. Probably artificial intelligence will come, and we will be able to manage better buildings and analyze data and adjust the features. But also we will have to just look how users are changing. Looking at, for example, Bluetooth reports and 5G, everything will just go faster, but the way it works on like security protocols with Bluetooth, with NFC, with RFID, it will be probably improved and faster. I don't think that suddenly smart buildings that are really ahead of today will be outdated in 10 or 20 years. What is important is to have this system open and be ready for new integrations. So there is something new coming and we see perspective, we can simply update the application, the software, and the platform for users with new features. And we're doing it when we are coming up with a new feature that, for example, we integrated with Google Maps for public transportation to give real-time data of which transportation is leaving in how long. We did it for all buildings within like a week. What was the most difficult? Definitely parking, because it's a lot of different parts. We integrated with an access control system to the parking through license plate recognition, through virtual cards, RFID, need-up stickers, so far range RFID. So it had so many different ways. So if you delete your license plate number, you can still access parking using your virtual card. Then integrating with sensors on every single parking spot to understand which one is busy, which one is not, to give information back and forth from systems. So the sensor gives us information that space is occupied. Then we need to give this information back on the screen, and so many different parts. So parking is one of the most difficult. What elevators companies do you have the best experience with in terms of integration? Basically, elevator companies had really close approach, and it suddenly changed year and a half ago. They suddenly became all open and they started to integrate with everything. So we use Kone, we use Schneider. We're probably like integrated with all four by now already. Do you know what the additional costs are for making an office building this level of smart? There are two parts of cost. One is hardware, one is software. Software, say, you should count on an investment around 200,000 euros. For hardware, it's difficult to say because it really depends on the country and the suppliers and the labor cost. For example, installing sensors for parking in Central Eastern Europe will be cheaper than in the UK or Germany. how would visitors that don't have the app connect to the users in the building at the entrance? So users who are guests, they receive a mobile pass that they save to their wallet. They are not required to download the app, even though they can download the app, but they won't be able to use full functionality since they are not approved users of the building. So for example, a neighbor of the building can download the application and can use some functionalities like public transport, check menu of the canteen and stuff like that. But until they are approved and they don't have, they are allowed to use parking or have a mobile card, they cannot interact with the building in the smart way, let's say. So when you are invited to visit the building, you will receive an email with information about the building, where to arrive, from which street, how to order a taxi, what time reception is open, and so on. You can click and book your parking by just putting your license plate number. And you have a QR code, just like your boarding pass to the plane. And you checked in. When you scan your boarding pass to the building, at the entrance, the person that invited you will receive a notification that you're in the building. What are your thoughts on tenants in the building integrate data from own products in your solution, or does it need to be them same for full building? No, we can do it separately. We have a tenant, for example, that has smart lockers, and we integrated them to the app, so their employees can open a locker from their app. So even if they are not in the office, but I don't know, they have some documents that they want to pass to colleagues, they can tell the colleague, go to my locker, click, it's open, please close it, and that's all. So we can do different things. We are very open for ideas. If there are new things that come just for workplace or for all building, it's always worth to discuss and see the potential and how users could do that. Understand again cost of app development. What about additional construction costs? As I said, it really depends on the location. Simon, you can get in touch with me and we can talk about it. I don't know where are you based, but I can give you rough estimate for that. What technology do you use to give people access to your building? So we use Bluetooth, we use NFC for Android, and we use RFID if somebody wants to use traditional card, wants to be disconnected from the system. Do you see or expect a demand for new smart buildings from any specific industry or any specific type of tenants? I think everybody wants a bit more right now. We basically get questions from potential tenants all the time about what are we planning, what we can give more to their employees, and so on. Is there any intercom integration? We use intercom only for parking. So in case all the 5 technologies has failed, or you're a guest and you didn't book a parking, you didn't know there is an intercom that you can connect to real people in the building, and they can check in the software if your license plate was there, or if you're on the list of guests, and can let you in to the building. I think I covered all the questions and we have run out of time. Sorry for speaking so much. If you will have any questions or would like to just talk, catch up, I'm more than happy to talk about it. And yeah, you can see my email or contact me on LinkedIn. Thank you for joining. Have a great day and talk to you soon.